Today, we're diving into another production session for my wife's upcoming album. The track we're working on is called Dragon Fruit. We're going to go through the entire process from drums to vocals, breaking down each step so you can see how to shape a song from raw idea into full production.
Holistic songwriting.
This session took about 2 hours. We'll explore how workflow and creative decision-making can elevate your track, and we'll see that mistakes can actually become part of your final sound. Also, just to get this out of the way, we just got back from Puerto Rico last week and I can't find the charger for my razor anywhere. So until I get a new one, I will look like an upside down Jack Seaver McDonald. So where do I start? By doing what I have never done before. I'm going to listen to my wife. My goal here is to get a feel for the raw elements, understand what's working and what's not before diving into the production.
I wanna make love to you.
Today I'm starting with a 4-on-the-floor feel to anchor the rhythm. It's a classic choice for dance-inspired grooves. I start simple, kick, clap, and hi-hat on the offbeat. Unfortunately, my timing was a little off, which displaced one of the kicks when I quantized everything. But instead of fixing it, I decided to keep it because it added a subtle syncopation that made the beat more interesting. Remember, people, originality is just mistakes plus confidence. I should put that on a shirt. Don't be afraid to embrace those small accidents in production. Sometimes they add a human feel that makes your track stand out. Not this one, obviously, but in general. Moving on to the guitar. Let's just say it wasn't recorded as well as it could have been, but instead of re-recording it, I opted to add character instead. By adding a bit of lo-fi magic, I turned a subpar take into something that feels intentionally gritty. Production, especially at this early stage, isn't about perfection. It's about making choices that fit the song and get you closer to the finish line. When you can't fix it, or it would suck up too much of your time, sometimes it's best to lean into it. Next, I focused on the bass line. I went with a riff inspired by Another One Bites the Dust. It's simple, powerful, and fits right into the pocket of the groove. Compression and distortion to give it more weight and presence in the mix. When building your bass line, don't be afraid to use a lot of compression, especially on live bass. It makes your low end more consistent and gives your track more energy. After that, I flex the bass to lock it into the groove. These little timing adjustments can sometimes make all the difference in how cohesive your track feels. And then I added some sidechaining, making all these adjustments irrelevant. Now let's talk about laying down the harmony with a Wurlitzer. I wanted something with a nice top line, so that's what I started with, a nice little melody. Then I added a bass line to function as a counterpoint to that. And then I filled in the harmony. The progression I used here, B minor 7, E7, A major 9, F sharp 7, sits nicely in B Dorian. It's a progression that holds interest throughout the song without needing a lot of variation. Then I realized the Wurlitzer was going to get in the way of the vocals, So I decided to bring the top line down to make some space.
I wanna make love to you, then you feed me with dragon fruit.
The backing vocals obviously needed some work, especially in terms of consistency. Joanna obviously stitched these together from different takes, and it sounds very unnatural. Like they might jump to a completely different note in the repetition, or they double each other or move in octaves. Not what I want from my backings. To make them sound more cohesive, I cut out all the unnecessary bits, and then I adjusted the pitches, keeping them closer together and covering most of the core tones. The goal was to make the backing vocals blend like a real group of singers, so that one line flows naturally to the next.
Love to you, then you feed me with dragon fruit. We're laying in the sun by the pool, and I read my book I didn't finish last year.
When working with backing vocals, you want to focus on consistency and making sure they properly sit in the mix. A little pitch adjustment can go a long way in creating that polished sound, which this is obviously not, but it will be when we properly record. So why not spend that time now? That's actually the reason I'm making this series, not to show off how handsomely fast I am at production, but to give you an idea what my process looks like. I work fast not because I want to be done sooner, but because what is the option? For your session to drag? I don't know about you, but I love to be in flow. That's the reason I make music. I don't want my sessions to drain me of energy. I want them to be fast and fun. If you're looking to dive deeper into that idea, I've created a course on that called the 24-Hour Song, which breaks down a 7.5-step process for finishing songs up to 20 times faster. And what you're seeing in this video is really only step 2, what we call helms. For the other steps, check out the link over here. Now back to the song. The verse melody. Well, it's a bit all over the place. It feels like it's rambling, there's not enough structure, so I'm going back in to simplify things. What I need here is more repetition and a tighter framework. And instead of recording a whole new take, I'm just cutting up and pitching the existing vocals. A little pitch shift here, a snip there. It's not the final version, but it lets me experiment and get a solid idea of how the new melody will sit in the mix. As for the bass, here's what I came up with initially.
Sunscreen on my skin, and every memory of life's cycle. Sunscreen on my skin.
It's good, but for a verse, it's a little overexcited maybe, and it gets in the way of the vocals. So I'm going to cut this down to a cleaner version for the verse and use the full riff on the pre-chorus where it can really shine. For the pre-chorus, I created a build-up using claps, going from quarter notes to triplets, eighth notes, and finally 16th notes. I also automated a filter to thin out the sound just before the chorus hits.
Sunscreen, 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 sunscreen. I wanna make love.
These small rhythmic elements help build momentum and give the chorus more impact. It's a technique that's common in dance music, but works across genres when you want a big payoff. Functionally, this is no different than using a drum fill or an uplifter. For the finale, I copy-pasted the Wurlitzer to create some strings and sidechained them.
Love to you.
Then I repurposed the backing vocals from the chorus as ad-libs. And that's it. Time to listen to the whole song with Joanna. She doesn't know I filmed this, so please don't tell her. This couch is more uncomfortable than it looks. So what did we think? We loved it! You just can't tell because we're German, and we have the emotional expressiveness of two guppies on Dramamine. Joanna thought the song dragged a bit, and I think she was right, so we increased the tempo by 5 BPM. That may not seem like much, but sometimes that little push is all you need to bring more energy to a track. So there you have it. I'll play the result for you in a sec. My immediate thoughts after finishing this is that the track is fine. It needs more character and variety. Right now, it's a little middle of the road. And that's fine. Again, the goal is not perfection. The goal is to have something from which you can continue working. On the positive side, it grooves nicely. The melodies and backing vocals have a lot of potential, and I don't have to sleep on the couch tonight. What more do you want?
Sunscreen on my skin, even on you. And every memory our lives shine through. Sunscreen on my skin, even on you. And every memory our lives shine through. Sunscreen, 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 sunscreen. Laying in the sun. Sunscreen, 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 sunscreen. I wanna make love to you when you feed me with dragon fruit. We're laying in the sun by the pool, and I read my book I didn't finish last year.
If you have any comments, suggestions, or ideas where to go next with this track, let me know in the comments, and as always, subscribe and like. Ya little sheep.